weather. It gives us life, and it takes it away.
The tornado has touched down.
You can't do anything.
It is a thing of staggering beauty and a destructive force, killing thousands every year.
The windows all blew out.
The whole thing's gone.
It was the end.
It is gone. The building is gone.
And our warmer atmosphere is extra energy for our weather to unleash upon us.
Oh my God!
We meet the people who came face to face with Mother Nature and filmed it.
I've been fighting it for an hour.
I'm gonna sick to my stomach.
Holy! I just lost my house.
We hear firsthand how these people survived.
Oh my God! Get in the house!
He's alive. He's alive.
It's pretty much the end of humanity.
I was really convinced I would die.
Using their incredible self-shot footage, we stare straight into the eye of the storm. And witness up close the sheer force of nature.
Oh my God! Look at that!
Everybody take cover! Now!
Coming up in this episode,
It's on the ground! It's on the ground!
a deadly tornado flattens an entire Illinois town.
There's power cables everywhere, houses are down.
In South Wales, a fisherman is swept off a pier into icy winter waters.
We weren't actually sure whether he was dead or alive.
And we reveal the locations of the world's deadliest weather. 9th of April 2015 in northern Illinois, America. Meteorology students Luke Odell and Craig Oswald were tracking a supercell storm, hoping to see their very first tornado.
This thing's amazing, this is unbelievable.
I'm heading north on the 39, and as it crosses the road, the awesome power of that storm became apparent.
Yeah, it's on the ground! It's on the ground!
I see
It's
it,
on the
dude.
ground! Get through! Get through! Get through! It's on the ground!
Oh my God!
Good.
The storm was now a tornado, growing before their eyes into a giant EF4, capable of flattening houses and destroying concrete buildings.
From our perspective, you know, we've been studying these storms for a number of years, and to see that finally, you're in awe, then it's just like, wow.
2 miles ahead in the town of Fairdale, 86-year-old Clem Schultz was upstairs at home as the 200-mile-per-hour twister barreled towards him.
My wife called me to the kitchen. She said, "Look out the window." When I saw that tornado and I started to video it, and all this time while I'm videoing, I was totally convinced that it was going to miss me by several miles until things started getting a little bit nastier.
Heading towards Fairdale, Luke and Craig were still mesmerized by this spectacle, unaware of just how destructive it was becoming.
Oh! Oh my God! Oh!
Really strong winds, anywhere between 250 and 300 mile an hour.
Oh!
Definitely scary. Your heart was racing, that's for sure.
Oh no! Oh no!
We were probably a couple football fields behind the tornado as it actually went across the road.
Oh my God!
Oh my.
Yes! Keep going!
Then kind of continued off to the northeast, unfortunately toward the town of Fairdale.
Oh God!
The deadly twister was now just 330 feet from Clem's house.
I saw my dog going through the backyard. And about that time, the floor started moving under my feet. And I said, "No, that thing ain't gonna miss me now. I might get hurt, might get killed.
It was too late. Clem and his wife now had nowhere to run.
Clem, are you dead now, or are you alive? This is actually what I was thinking.
Minutes later, Luke and Craig arrived in Fairdale, where they met an apocalyptic scene.
Check if everyone's okay. Shit. This is EF4 damage.
Just destruction everywhere.
Let's go around this way. We don't know.
I don't know. We knocked on the door.
Is everyone okay in there? Oh my god. Dude. Jesus. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's power cables everywhere. Houses are down. Are these guys okay?
Every single home in this tiny town of 150 people was damaged or destroyed.
The only way that I can parallel the feeling.
Oh my god.
I lived in New York at the time of September 11th, and that kind of panicked silence and the level of destruction is really difficult to comprehend. This is what a tornado of that magnitude can do to a town. In 20 to 30 seconds, they can take the town and make it dust. And that was terrifying.
Incredibly, amongst the destruction, a neighbor spots Clem.
They got fire rescue on the way, okay? Why don't you come this way?
Clem's head was hit, and his entire house was flattened, but he was struggling with a much deeper loss.
There was a first responder there. He brought me over to the edge, and he said, "Don't look down." And I said, "Why don't look down?" And he said, "Because your wife is directly underneath you, and she's dead." Obviously, I did look down. I saw her head and one shoulder, an arm, laying out from underneath the beam. I took her by the wrist. There was no pulse. And I said, "Clem, there's nothing that can be done for her. You've got to get yourself out of here, because that noise you hear in the background now is propane tanks all over the town."
The whole town had to be evacuated immediately.
I think I smell gas.
There's lots of propane everywhere. People need to get out of here. It could ignite any second. You need to leave now. Is there people in here? No, get out. There's propane leaking. You guys have to leave. Yes. You have to get out now. Leave. Do not smoke. Don't smoke propane. Put it out.
The following day, another Fairdale resident was found dead, but emergency services had sealed the leaking gas, so the people of Fairdale could return home.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my goodness, gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh, jeez, please. Mom's room. Mom's room.
Clem and his son picked through the remains of his house.
Just be careful, Dad.
Although nothing could replace the loss of his wife, there was to be an unexpected ray of light for Clem in the form of his dog, Missy, who was unbelievably found alive and well.
So they brought her back to me, and of course we had our reunion. Kisses and loves and hugs. We were both pretty happy.
A kind stranger also found this picture lying in a field. 35 miles from Clem's house.
The photo means a lot to me. She kind of meant a lot to me too. This flew out of my house through the window that I was looking out. This was one of the last things I saw before the tornado.
The photo is now with him in his new home, close to his children and grandchildren. Deadly weather can occur anywhere across the globe, but some places are in Mother Nature's crosshairs more often than anywhere else. Every year from April to July, the Midwest of America becomes known as Tornado Alley, as more deadly twisters form here than anywhere else in the world. This one in Washington, Illinois, is just one of 70 tornadoes hitting the Midwest in a single day in November 2013.
It's coming toward us. I'm going with my baby.
Go with the babies. Go. Leave that door so I can get in.
Some tornadoes travel at over 70 miles per hour, and this homeowner discovers just how quick they can be on top of you.
Oh my God!
As cold, dry air from the north meets warm, wet air from the south, the result is up to 1,000 devastating tornadoes every year. These travelers in St. Louis, Missouri, are inside a steel-built airport terminal, but it offers limited protection from their destructive force. The 150-mile-per-hour tornado blows out half of the main terminal's windows and causes structural damage, costing millions. But luckily, no one is hurt. India is the monsoon capital of the world. From July every year, scorching weather over land is pushed out by moisture-laden air from the sea. This triggers biblical rainstorms. In 2015, farmlands and cities were submerged across southern India, underwater. The worst-hit city was Chennai, where lakes overflowed, turning roads into rivers. This motorcyclist is dangerously close to losing his life. Without a human chain of bystanders, he could have become another statistic in the 2015 monsoon floods. They would claim 431 lives across the region. When it comes to deadly hurricanes, the place to avoid is Southeast Asia. They form over warm tropical oceans, so Asia's Pacific coastlines are battered every year by at least 20 of these monsters. And they reach 1,250 miles wide. The most devastating in recent history was Hurricane Haiyan, which hit the Philippines in 2013. It killed over 6,000 people and caused $2.9 billion worth of damage across the region.
Oh my God!
So, after witnessing the world's deadliest locations, you might want to stop and think before you next complain about the weather. Porthcawl in South Wales faces 3,000 miles of open Atlantic Ocean. The huge waves are notorious. In December 2015, a fisherman was swept off the harbour wall by a monster 40-foot wave. Volunteers Ross Purchase and Simon Ems from the Royal National Lifeboat Institution got the call.
When we launched, we didn't know whether he had hit himself on the pier. It must have been a 30-foot drop that day, and the pier angles outwards and covered in barnacles, so we didn't know whether he'd hit his head, injured any of the limbs on his body, so we were totally unsure of what we were going to find.
Life expectancy in the near-freezing sea is about 15 minutes, but by the time the rescue team hit the water, the fishermen had been there for 10 minutes.
For a person in the water with the sea temperatures that we have made, the chances of survival quickly diminish.
Hampered by poor visibility and rough currents, the crew spotted him a quarter-mile from the harbour wall. He'd been in the water for 15 minutes.
But on spotting the fisherman and the condition he seemed to be in, we weren't actually sure whether he was dead or alive.
Put my knee into his back just to sort of lift him up a bit, and he just let out this gasp. You kind of feel relieved, but at the same time, we've got a long way to go.
41-year-old Mike Dooley was only just breathing, and when the volunteers checked his responses, they discovered that he could barely talk. As the core body temperature drops, hypothermia leads to apathy and confusion. They have to warm him up, as the next stage is loss of consciousness and falling into a coma.
I could hear a lot of commotion behind me. I'm just maintaining that boat's position into the conditions to try and keep the guys safe, just to avoid a capsize.
With 3 crew on one side of the boat, trying to pull Mike out, the notorious Porthcawl swell could send them all into the water.
He seemed to have a lot of layers on that day, and the crew said he was very heavy.
In all his wet clothes, Mike would have weighed 19 stone, as heavy as a baby elephant. As the minutes ticked by, he was becoming less and less responsive, and the crew were getting more and more tired. The exhausted crew braced themselves for a last-ditched heave.
Once we had the fisherman on board, Simon was brought back into the boat before we could actually start making headway back to the station.
Incredibly, the moment Mike was out of the cold water, he became a little more alert.
There's relief when you can actually see the casualty starting to make movement, signs that he's hopefully going to be okay.
But during the 5-minute ride back, he started losing consciousness again. The danger of his brain shutting down altogether was now very real.
Once we got back on shore into the boathouse, we got the casualty onto some oxygen. He was cut quite badly as well.
Mike's core temperature was so low that his vital organs were beginning to slow down.
I think he was quite fortunate that the ambulance crew arrived very quickly.
Paramedics were on the scene minutes after Mike came ashore, and thankfully they were able to keep him stable.
I think if the RNA wasn't here that day, it'd be a different story.
Mike went on to make a full recovery, but it's unknown whether he has been fishing again since.
4 boys went out, 5 boys came back, and that's always a good outcome.
If the elements catch you out, a rescue could be the difference between life and death.
No water! 1 meter! Behind!
Christmas Day in Wyoming, and it's time for the festive tradition of taking the sleds out to the frozen Jackson Lake.
Look at that big crack. Is that a big crack next to him right here? Yeah.
But this scene of holiday fun is about to turn into a death trap.
That's seriously not even funny.
No, it's not.
As the ice finally gives way, fellow sledders rush to help the stricken child.
It's too.
But 2 bungled rescue attempts mean 3 people are now in the freezing water.
Give me the rope from under the seat.
Under the seat. Now.
And as the ice continues to weaken, a 4th plunges in. Further desperate attempts fail miserably. It's now a race against time to stop Christmas, becoming a multiple tragedy. The gravest concern is the child in the red hat. He's been in the water longest, and with less body mass than the adults, he could lose consciousness within minutes. An unlikely rescuer proves to be the man struggling alongside him, but time is running out.
It has to be cold to where you don't want to move.
Heroically keeping the boy afloat, he too is fading fast. It's now down to the bystanders on the shore to save 2 lives.
Hey!
Sorry, they need to take his clothes off.
Yeah, they're putting blankets on them. Yeah.
People take off their own dry clothes to quickly warm up the 2 victims, and a Christmas Day disaster is narrowly averted. But every day an average of 10 Americans drown, even on Christmas Day. An innocuous drizzle of rain can lead to a life or death situation. This hiker on a 9,000-foot mountain in Peru is unaware that rain has loosened the stone path beneath him. Hidden just beyond the undergrowth is a sheer drop thousands of feet high. Mercifully, the undergrowth stops him falling to an almost certain death. But with just a few plants supporting him, the danger is far from over.
That's it. Well done. Well done.
Without every single one of his fellow hikers, this adventurer could have been a goner.
It's a good experience.
It's not just humans that need rescuing when dangerous weather hits. On the frozen Mississippi River, unorthodox methods are needed to help our furry friends. Using the wind from the helicopter's blades, a quick-thinking pilot pushes this Bambi to safety.
Wow, that was awesome.
But in truly desperate situations, there's nothing anyone can do. And during this devastating mudslide in Chañaral, Chile, it was down to the victim to rescue itself. Most avalanches are caused by off-piste skiers disturbing fresh snow. But there is just as much danger riding a 200-kilo-plus snowmobile. And on a steep slope like this, the odds are stacked against him getting away scot-free.
Oh no!
Risking their own safety, his mates race to the rescue. Stopped in their tracks, it's an anxious wait for the avalanche to stop.
Where is he?
They can only hope he isn't buried too deeply to find. Without his friends, he might not have lived to tell the tale of when he took on an avalanche and lost. He could probably do with a warm hat, though. Coming up, a freak storm in Belgium. Sending 60,000 music festival revelers fleeing for their lives. A sinkhole threatens to swallow an entire street in Baltimore.
Oh my God!
And we meet the bad weather junkies who risk life and limb for Mother Nature's kicks. Pukkelpop Festival 2011, near the town of Genk in Belgium. 60,000 music lovers flocked here to dance in the sun. The area had been enjoying a heat wave, but on the first evening the sky turned pitch black and unleashed an epic storm. "41-year-old Bert is a veteran raver and is well used to a bit of bad weather.
We were laughing like, oh, those kids don't know how to do festivals, and us grown-ups, we can take a bit of rain.
But as hundreds streamed into the tent for shelter, Bert found himself pushed to its edge and under an enormous TV screen swinging in the gales.
Literally, it's a really big thing. It's like half the side of a house that's hanging that's hanging on top of you. You could feel the tension in the crowd, and that's when it became really, really scary.
Jeff was in a small trailer beside the huge chateau tent. He'd seen hundreds escaping the storm by fleeing inside it.
It was a huge tent, very heavy. The wind was playing it like balloons. We sure were very afraid at that point and panicking as well, because we didn't know what to expect next, what was going to happen.
Inside the dance tent, Louis was lost in the music of Wiz Khalifa.
You had a few drinks and you're partying, you sort of feel invincible. You have these people screaming outside, but you don't expect that something would happen to you. You just expect that you're safe at a place like that, and then eventually you're not.
But 70-mile-per-hour winds threatened to bring the whole thing down. All over the festival, this tent city was pushed to breaking point. And this was no longer just a wet festival story. The wind and rain intensified, and the giant TV screen above Bert began groaning under the strain. After almost being crushed, Bert dashed to the middle of the field, away from falling structures.
We went through the cables, we went through the metal girders. As soon as one of those large cables come loose, that's just a death trap.
In the dance tent, MC Khalifa ran from the stage, and the DJ told everyone they must leave.
Please exit the tent.
It was just a big panic mass situation, you know. Everyone was screaming and because they were afraid of the tent collapsing on them. I started panicking as well. It was definitely chaos.
As the crowds rushed outside, they were stopped in their tracks by cherry-sized hail. But for the 4,000-plus people inside, it was increasingly dangerous to stay under the creaking tent.
The thing I was the most afraid of was, of course, just the whole tent that it would collapse on me or on all my friends and everyone in there.
In the chateau tent, thousands of revelers were sheltering in a death trap.
At that point I thought this is the end of the world, because you see it's a big monster. It's like a big giant coming loose. Jesus Christ. People gonna die, people gonna be injured. So at that point I was completely in chaos and panicking.
Terrified people scrambled out of the collapsing tent.
You realize there's a lot of people in the tent, you realize the tent is very heavy, you realize there's a lot of metal in the tent, very heavy. We couldn't believe that it just happened.
In the carnage, Jeff was unaware that there were people trapped under tons of mangled rigging. Everything across the site was being torn apart. Those who managed to escape fled to their campsites through flying debris. The dance tent barely held out. Louis and the crowds trapped inside could have met the same fate as those in the chateau tent. Hundreds rode out the storm, huddled in open spaces.
You could feel stuff getting blown into you, like papers and cups and little twigs and cardboard boxes and everything. You're just hoping like nothing really big or nothing heavy hits you.
"40 minutes after it started, the storm passed.
A few moments before there was a joy, there was sun, there was music, and then a few moments later it's like you go to a funeral or something.
You get back to, reality, where everything is just gone.
A cold weather front, 3 miles up in the atmosphere above Belgium, created this thunderstorm, which killed 5 people, 2 of which were inside the chateau tent.
We heard afterwards that there was a young guy. He went back in, he forgot his backpack, and he went back inside for his backpack, and then at that point a truss came down and fell on his head and he died there.
"140 people were injured across the site, 10 seriously. After 25 years without incident, Pukkelpop now resembled a war zone, and the festival was over after the first night. But Pukkelpop returned the following year, and every year since.
For an event like this, unless you build concrete shelters, you can't protect yourself from this. You just can't mitigate against something like this. No, just don't have the festival then, which is a lot worse.
Sinkholes can strike anywhere and at any time. But why do they occur? Sinkholes happen when decades or even centuries of underground water erosion produce cavities, making everything above them dangerously unstable. Then one heavy storm is all it takes for the earth to disappear before your eyes. This building in India had been a family's home, but luckily they felt the earth move below them before it was too late. In Bayou Corn, Louisiana, this enormous sinkhole appeared 4 years ago when an ancient natural cavern collapsed. Since then, it periodically engulfs everything above it. It now covers a staggering 90 acres and is 750 feet deep, but it's still growing. And 300 residents nearby have abandoned their homes as this monster sinkhole threatens to swallow entire settlements. Sinkholes often occur in colder climes, like Ontario, Canada.
Hey!
Rainwater seeps into underground cracks and freezes. After melting, the water can wash away the earth and collapse the ground above it. With the train line completely destroyed and a gaping hole in the earth, this person has a lucky escape. This driver is rushing to help campers in Inskip Point, Australia. A sinkhole has devoured tents, cars, and even mobile homes. Now the earth all around it is dangerously unstable. The driver parks up with a gaping chasm just inches to his left. The ground continues to crumble away under his car, leaving it overhanging the sinkhole.
You draw it, mate.
But with help from the campers, he makes a lucky escape. It's only when day breaks that we see how enormous the sinkhole is. Swallowing over 650 feet of beachfront, it is a miracle that no one is killed or injured.
Look at this shit. That's crazy.
We've witnessed the awesome power of sinkholes, and if one gobbles you up, it will take more than revving your engine to get you out. Baltimore, Maryland, on America's East Coast, was deluged by one of the wettest springs in 75 years.
Wow!
On the 30th of April 2014, 4 inches of rain fell, overwhelming the rivers and storm drains and drowning the city. But the rains were about to trigger a weird and potentially deadly weather phenomenon. In the low-lying neighborhood of Charles Village, Nick Reyes is among shocked residents watching their street literally crack under the pressure of the flood.
And I noticed the cars were starting to lean in towards the side of the street where the opening was, and the first thing I could do was take a picture of it and texted my girlfriend at the time and told her that my street was going to fall off.
Rain had seeped through cracks in the road and eroded the foundations of the entire street. Nick's car was one of 12 teetering on the edge, 20 feet above a busy train line.
I actually asked one of the police officers if I could go move my car because it was still up there, and he just told me that I couldn't. I had to stand there and pretty much just watch it go.
My car's about to go.
Your car's... Oh my God!
Nick's car was gone, but it was not over yet. The earth was severely weakened, and Nick himself was now in danger.
Oh my God!
It's one of the loudest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh my God!
The moment that I felt the most worry was after it all happened, and I didn't know how far it was going to go. You know, it could have taken the whole street, could have taken everything.
The floodwaters had washed away the earth beneath the street, burrowing out an enormous cavity, until the road came crashing down on the train lines below. All 12 cars, including Nick's, were destroyed. Half the street was literally gone, but amazingly nobody was hurt. Nick and his neighbors were evacuated for a month, while their houses were shored up and the street rebuilt. Finally back home, Nick reflects on seeing the first tiny signs of disaster just days earlier.
There was a crack in the street that I actually was always making jokes about, telling everyone that one day the street was going to fall off, and nobody ever thought I'd be right.
When the weather takes a turn for the worse, most people head indoors and hunker down. But bad weather junkies like this guy dive in head first. Heading the list are these youngsters, who only need a few inches of rain to break out the bodyboards. And it's not just the streets, even the storm drains will do. But maybe stick to the beach next time. If the traffic doesn't get you, the sewage and the floodwater probably will. At number 6, this cool customer from Norway shows us how to get around when ice makes walking downhill impossible. Very smooth. In at 5, these thrill-seekers embrace the full force of this storm on Chile's wave-battered Black Island.
Whoa! Whoa, wait a minute. Hey! Whoa! Oh! Se fueron!
With the 2 men out of sight, a panicked search ensues. Thankfully, they are found with only cuts and bruises, and no doubt with a healthier respect for the power of the sea. Number 4, and after feet of snow in St. Petersburg, Russia, these residents don't see streets, but a ready-made urban ski resort. And even when the fuel runs out, an old-fashioned mode of transport is found to keep them slaloming. But with Russia's roads rated among the world's deadliest, street skiing here isn't the best idea for fun. 3rd place goes to these daredevils, who spot a cluster of water spouts off the Florida coast and decide to hit the water and head straight for them.
How many people see water spouts and tornadoes from this perspective?
Effectively tornadoes on water, these water spouts are capable of destroying anything in their path. Despite being in a tiny boat, they weave between the waterborne twisters to get their kicks. And manage to stay in one piece. For sheer determination to get his chores done, this hardy Oklahoma resident gets 2nd spot. Even a wild storm in Tornado Alley won't stop him getting his lawn mowed.
Only in Oklahoma.
But top spot in the Bad Weather Junkies countdown goes to these surfers who take on Hurricane Sandy and win. In this episode, we've seen Mother Nature in all her fury. We've seen how helpless we can be. We've seen her tear down, destroy, and laugh in our faces. And next time, there will be more, because deadly weather stops for no one.